You know, always makes me feel better on the TV machine, Representative Robin Kelly of the great state of Illinois. And she joins us now for the very first time. How exciting. Good morning, Representative.
Good morning. How are you?
I am well. I love me some Illinois. I lived in Chicago. I mean, what's not great about Illinois? You and Illinois.
It's snowing right now.
What?
Is it really? In April?
Yeah.
Oh.
That happens sometimes.
Wow. I have to say, I grew up in Lockport, New York, and I thought the wind, I thought that was cold. Chicago is a different kind of cold, isn't it?
I know. I grew up in New York City, and when I came to Illinois, yes, it's a different kind of cold.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. When you're walking on Wacker and that wind cuts across the lake. Oh,
Yeah.
oh God. Well, listen, good morning. Thank you. I know you're so busy, but I don't even know where to start. You started tweeting about that. You said the World Health Organization works with all nations to track and identify pandemic and other public health threats. Yet another terrible public health decision from Trump. And again, we've heard now, we just talked about, Representative, this disastrous call with business leaders who all told him the same thing that all of you in Congress are telling him, and who is telling him. We need testing and tracing before we can safely get back to business, right?
Definitely. But the thing is, even though he gathers, task force and experts and even people that he hires, he doesn't listen to them. He only listens to himself at the end, or he, might, as I used to say when I was younger, sell big wolf tickets, and then he might back down. But he's his own best advisor in his mind. Well,
yeah. So I am really not a conspiratorial person, Representative. What do you understand about testing? I don't. He did not answer the question. He ended the press conference. Obviously, it is something that he is sensitive. He just keeps repeating the same lie that we're testing more than anybody, and it's that he.
Oh my God!
He has to understand per capita testing, right?
Right. That is so untrue when you look at the other countries. Plus, for a while, and even now, we don't even have enough tests. And I understand, not testing every single person, because you can test someone and they are negative, then the next day after you've tested them they're positive, but there's certainly more testing that needs to be done in focused, concentrated areas, like in the African American community. So many of us are dying, and certainly more tests are needed there, and rapid results. There's so much more that we can do than we're doing, but he never wants to face that he did anything wrong or made the wrong decision or moved too slow, which he's done all of that.
Of course. By the way, you wrote a great piece about this. The system is killing us. Why African Americans face a shockingly higher COVID-19 death rate. And I'm not sure if people know the stats that you wrote about. African Americans account for just 15% of Americans in the 2010 census, represent 35% of COVID diagnoses and 40% of COVID deaths. And you said the numbers have likely gotten worse since you even wrote this, right?
Well, right. And then if you look at certain places like the city of Chicago, even though the mayor's working really hard and so is the governor, they're doing a really good job, but 70% of the deaths were African American. If you look at New Orleans, those two cities in particular, but also Milwaukee and Detroit, So, yes, it's shocking, but as you say, not surprising because of what's been going on forever, the healthcare disparities. But this virus has really put the spotlight on it, and we intend to keep the spotlight on it even as we slowly get past COVID-19. But just in general, that's the case.
Well, Representative, you made a great point in this piece. You said this pandemic did not create these health disparities. It merely highlighted centuries of health disparities and inequities that have negatively impacted African Americans. How offensive was it to you that they sent the African American Surgeon General out there to, I don't know, lecture black people about smoking and drinking, as if those are the only causes? I just some days can't believe what I'm watching from that podium. Can you?
Every day, and I don't even watch them every day because I don't want to raise my blood pressure.
Right. Yeah, because then you have an underlying condition. Right.
Yeah, I don't even watch him every day because I know I'm going to hear about it on one of the news channels. But it's just so unbelievable. But that's like when he was campaigning, and he pointed out one black person, that the one black guy that's his friend, and that kind of thing. And of course, he's going to use people to do that. That's not surprising, that he's doing that. I mean, I met his Surgeon General, but yeah, I mean, they're trying to blame us when it's been, when you look at the social determinants of health, the wealth gap, the job gap, the education gap, environmental issues, that hasn't been done by us to us. It's just all the systemic and institutionalized racism and decisions. So.
Yeah. Well, and you struck yesterday, I don't know, it's hard to pick a moment of awful and just a tsunami of awful every day. But, when he's asked this, his reaction to these protesters in Michigan waving Confederate flags, Trump flag, it's a Trump rally, so Trump signs and Confederate flags, and defying the ban, which, as Governor Whitmer said, is now they're going to now go back. Many of them will get COVID. They will now go back and give COVID to other people in Michigan, extending the lockdown, which is what they were protesting. And Trump, once again, just says nothing, because I guess they're very fine people again. All he said, well, I guess they like me. They like me, those protesters. Rather than saying this is dangerous, go home, obey the law, obey the governor's orders. I mean, it's such a disgrace. And that we're pretending that Michigan has any Southern heritage, and what the Confederate flag has to do with this, right?
Well, it was when it was on the front page of the Tribune. I had to widen my phone. I said, "Wait a minute, where is this?" I was shocked, and when I saw the people with, the guns hanging from their waist, like they were going to threaten or do something, I don't understand it myself. That no one wants. I'm not used to staying in and being on conference calls, starting in the morning, ending at night, and that kind of thing. No, we're not used to this, but this is a sacrifice we have to make. We're all our own best weapons.
Yeah.
And, it's just so ridiculous. It's almost unbelievable that they did that.
Your Governor Pritzker, of course, in Illinois, has said, I've given up on, help from the federal government. Obviously, states are, consortium of states are trying to make their own plans to reopen. How are you feeling in terms of Illinois? Because it just seems like, he's like, the states, you're on your own. So now he's trying to say I have total authority, but yet, okay, here's some guidelines, but you call the shots. And it's just.
Well, first he was trying to be the dictator, though.
Right.
And then he, I guess his people must have told him, you really don't have the, authority. So, I mean, Governor Pritzker said, and Mayor Lightfoot and others have said that we are going to go by science and the healthcare professionals and what they recommend. And I believe that's, what they're going to do. Believe me, he has said, I had to choose between your livelihood and your life, and he chose life. He doesn't want this. I mean, Illinois, he already said, is going to be in debt or behind $2.7 billion.
Yeah.
So he's not, he wants, he's missing all that sales tax and, that kind of thing too. No one chooses this, but it's what you have to do. And as I said, somehow, some way we'll get through it. We're talking about now how we can further help, our first responders, our teachers, and our hospitals and places like that stay on their feet and be okay, when we start getting past this in small businesses. So, we're trying. We really, really are.
What can Congress do, Representative? We were just talking about. This is a small business out here. We have companies behind us are very small. In New York and California based. No, we can't get a loan. And sure enough, your colleague Jackie Spear had tweeted, "I'm hard pressed not to think this is political. Blue states like California got a pathetic number of loans issued. Nebraska got nearly 75% of loans requested. I smell a rat with orange hair." She's funny. She's funny.
Love her.
Can I just say, between California and Illinois and New York, I feel like we have the federal stockpile of awesome.
Yeah.
Between you and Mayor Lightfoot and Governor Pritzker and Jan Schakowsky, right? And
Yes.
our representatives out here. I mean, But honestly, of course, as we just looked at the statistics, Representative, the top 5 states that got the small business loans are red states, pretty much. The bottom 5 are New York, California. I mean, are all blue states. And it's like this is, of course, why he didn't want an inspector general, right?
he never wants an inspector general. Yeah, it does. I'm trying not to think like that, but when you see different, situations and you look at who's where, it does make you say, and does make you wonder, what they're up to. And even, members have talked about the commandeering of equipment and supplies and giving credit to certain Republicans for getting this equipment when they really had nothing to do with it, PPE. So I'm sure there's some politicking going on, definitely, but I didn't even realize those statistics myself.
Yeah, they are definitely things that make you go, I love a good CNC Music reference, CNC Music Factory reference myself, but I'm kind of old school. So, this, where was, is this from the Post? A person familiar with one of the conference calls said business leaders warned the president that expanded testing was needed before Americans could safely return to work, but the message was largely drowned out by Trump's determination to solicit praise from the participants. Well, here's a question. I mean, how do you safely decide when to open Illinois or how? And then it strikes me that it's the same thing with as we keep saying, the virus doesn't know state borders. So just like all the guns from Indiana flood Illinois, like what are we gonna? What's your take on how we do this and what we do with these red states that don't believe in science? I guess.
I am happy that Governor Pritzker, I believe it was him, followed what Governor Cuomo and Governor Newsom did, how they helped put together, the states next to them. So, and with the Midwestern states, they all did come together. And also the Ohio governor, he was one of the first to close and shut down, everything. So I know he wants to open up, but hopefully all the states that have clustered together will have a good conversation about it and, look at the science like I know Governor Pritzker's doing. But, yeah, it's hard because he does have a lot of red states. But as I said, the Ohio governor was one of the first people to shut, everything down. So maybe he'll be reasonable. Not sure about everybody else. The Wisconsin governor is a Democrat now.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Representative, it seems like we have such clear directives from other countries as to what has worked. And Vincent on Twitter this morning said Singapore should be a warning to us. They had COVID under excellent control. Now it's out of control. 728 new cases yesterday. When we relax social distancing measures prematurely, we risk a second wave. Places where groups of people work, live close to each other are at high risk. Like LA, like LA, where I'm talking to you from, and of course Chicago and other places. So,
right.
I'm just sort of terrified that we know exactly what's going to happen. Dr. Fauci said it, right? There will be new infections, right? And
well, I don't see, especially, I don't know if he can, slow roll the state, but I definitely don't see. I expect Mayor Lightford to possibly extend, past April 30th, and the governor also, and then maybe, slow the opening in now less populated, areas. I don't know if he would start way downstate or whatever, but again, people from other states, can come over. We're not, going to block them out. But I think that we need to be really, really careful because we'll be right back to where we once started. Plus, the other thing is, if you don't follow the science, most people have sheltered in place. They're not going to come out. You can open the business.
That's right. Most of us have
not going to take a chance.
Right, Representative. Most of us have common sense. Well, all I know is Chicago Sexy Liberal has been moved from starring Jan Schakowsky and Jill Wine-Banks, and presumably Representative Robin Kelly has been moved from, and I'm sure you'll bring along Mayor Lightfoot. But anyway, it's been moved from July to October now?
Yes.
So, and that may change too, depending on the facts and science. Could you just pencil in sometime in this millennium that you will join us on stage?
Of course.
We'd love to have you.
All right, fantastic.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what they're doing, so I know your calendar's open. Just pencil in whenever.
I know. I'm erasing every day that goes past, even in the future.
I'm keeping the whiteout business completely in business with my paper calendar. But Representative, what a pleasure to meet you. Thanks so much, and keep fighting.
Thank you so much.
Keep fighting the good.
Stay safe.
You too.
You
Keep
too.
fighting the good fight. Thank you.